So next is question number 10.4. It reads, which one of the following has the highest dipole moment? And there are three questions given to us. The first one is CHCl2, CH2Cl2, CHCl3 and CCl4. So all of these are carbon compounds, and we need to find out that out of the three, which one is having the highest dipole moment. So before we move into drawing the structure, trying to find out which one has the highest dipole moment, what is the meaning of this term dipole moment? So whenever you look about dipole moment, you are always talking about the electron movement. So we all know that when you look at a particular compound, we will find two elements. One is an electropositive element, the other one is going to be an electronegative element. And when we talk about electron movement, we know that the electron will flow or move to that particular element which is more electronegative. So here, when you look at dipole moment, we're going to talk about that electron movement where it moves towards the more electronegative element. And we're going to talk about the dipole moment in that. Whether it is going to be 0, does it have a value, and if it has a value, then which one of it is going to have the highest dipole moment. Alright, so here first one, we have CH2Cl2, so we have a carbon, and I'm just drawing random structure. They're not geometry at all, I'm just drawing it. So you have CH2Cl2, this is the diagram. Then we have another one where you have CHCl3, so 3 Cl atoms, and the last one is going to be all bonds with Cl. So we have all structures now. Now what our work is, we are going to find out which one of this is going to be of the highest dipole moment and how the electron flows. So here when you see in this, your compounds, each of this will have chlorine atom. So the first one has 2 chlorine atom, this has 3 chlorine atom, and this has 4 chlorine atoms. So now when you say carbon and hydrogen, between both of this, carbon is more electronegative. But when you compare carbon and chlorine atom, chlorine is more electronegative. So among all the 3 atoms that you have in this compound, chlorine is the most electronegative element. So the electron will flow towards chlorine atom. So it's going to move like this in all atoms. The arrow moves towards the chlorine atom, denoting that the electron flows towards that direction. Now, in this case, if you see, there is a certain value of dipole moment in this because electrons are flowing only in one direction towards the Cl. In the second compound, if you see, the element, the chlorine atom is pulling electrons in 3 different directions, right? So at one point, what will happen, though these 2 atoms, the electrons flow towards one direction, this one atom, the electron is flowing in the opposite direction when compared to both of this. It's pulling this way. So when in this case, what happens is they're pulling in 3 different directions, right, towards a Cl atom, but they're pulling in 3 different directions from the central atom. So here the dipole moment will be slightly lesser than the previous one. Alright, and if you see the last one, in the last case, they are pulling, all the 4 Cl atoms are pulling the electrons in 4 different directions away from the central atom. In the last case, the dipole moment is 0. So here, when you compare all 3, the dipole moment of CH2Cl2, we can write here that the dipole moment of CH2Cl2 is the highest, or we can say the one that has the least number of electronegative element will have the highest dipole moment. So here you have only 2 chlorine atoms, here 3 chlorine atoms, and here 4. So the particular compound which has the highest number of electronegative element will have the highest dipole moment.